Well, we had some interesting news this week as Jets fans, didn't we? We're going to get into the trades. We're going to talk about the draft compensation, what the future really looks like. But not only that, I want to look forward to the final 9 games of this season. It's very easy to look forward if you're a Jets fan in 2026 and 2027. But what do we need to be watching for the most over these final 9 games? For a change, guys, it's Thursday night. It's 6 p.m. and we are live. Well. Welcome everybody back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to join me for our weekly Wednesday/Thursday night extravaganza. It's been a pretty good week. Sorry I couldn't do the show on Wednesday. Try to give everybody some notice. The show would be Thursday. So here we are. I am ready to go. I see we got a few people coming into the chat. So feel free to drop a line, say hello. If you got any thoughts, you got any questions, this is an open forum. And so I look forward to hearing what you have to say. So we're going to get into the Jets in a minute. But before we do that, I got a few other things on my mind. So let's talk about what's on my mind in a segment that we like to call 3 and Out. So the first thing I want to get into, it feels like the World Series ended a while ago, doesn't it? It feels like it's been 2 weeks, but it was a heck of a series. The LA Dodgers win. Great for base. It was a great series for baseball, no doubt about it. I don't know if it's great for the actual business of baseball that LA won again. And we all witnessed collectively as a country the second hardest slap ever by somebody named Will Smith as he hits the eventual game-winning home run in Game 7 in Toronto. But now free agency, time to turn the page. The opt-outs have started. The qualifying offers have been made. Both Edwin Diaz and Trent Grisham of the Mets and Yankees, respectively, have been offered the qualifying offer. I'm sure both will be declining. And as of 5 p.m. Thursday, so as I'm doing the show 1 hour ago, free agency has already started. It starts early and it takes forever. It's a marathon, whereas free agency in every other sport is an all-out sprint. We're talking about a 100-meter dash versus an ultra marathon, which is what baseball is. All right, New York Knicks, 3 games into a 7-game homestand. They're 3-0 so far. 5-0 at home on the season. They beat Minnesota Wednesday night, 137-114, most complete game of the season. The Knicks took 102 shots on Wednesday night. 102 shots. They've done that once in like 40 years. You know, it is amazing to me. The Knicks can't lose at home, and the Rangers can't win at home. What is going on in the Garden? Man, oh man. Maybe Mike Brown ought to be coaching the Rangers too. I don't know. But Mike Brown, we knew it would take some time for him to find his rotation, but we could see a new style. It's more up-tempo, and when you play more up-tempo and you're not just holding the ball, you need more players, you need depth. And it's pretty clear to me the Knicks have better depth than what they've had over the last few years. And there are certain Knicks fans who owe an apology to Josh Hart. After the loss in Chicago, there were Knicks fans killing this guy, saying we got to get rid of him. He should be benched. He's got whatever, all this crap. And it turns out he's playing through a nerve injury in his hand. You can't heal nerve injuries. You just wait for them to come back. It's just patience. So Josh Hart, to me, is, no pun intended, the heart and soul of the team. He's sort of the engine. And the better he's playing, the healthier he's playing, it makes the rest of the team look that much better. And now the Knicks play the Nets on Sunday night. Yes, the 1-win Brooklyn Nets. That ought to be fun at MSG. And as far as the New York Giants go, I told you in my predictions that Christian McCaffrey would go off in this game. That's exactly what he did. Over 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. San Francisco with almost 400 yards of offense. But that Brian Robinson run, the backup running back, basically truck stopping Deonte Banks. He cashed Deonte Banks out. You see what I did there? Theo Johnson, he has some touchdowns, but he has a big drop every game. I really don't know about the Giants right now. They get the Bears in Chicago next. Watch out. Count on them giving 30 points, surrendering 30 points yet again. Man, oh man. I said after the injuries, after Neighbors went down, after Dart emerged and Scattaboo went down, this was going to be about the coaching staff. And could they continue to coach his team up and keep them competitive against a very difficult schedule? So far, the early results have not been promising. And in Soldier Field, it's not going to be promising either. And this could be the Giants' final game in Soldier Field. That's right. It could be before the Bears move to Arlington Heights, the very bougie suburb in Northwest Chicago, in just a couple of years. All right. Enough of that. I see we got a few folks here in the chat. Let me say a couple of quick hellos. We've got the great Harlan Abraham, Father Abraham, and his many sons, the many sons of Father Abraham. And when you're here tonight on Thursday, when we had to call a little bit of an audible, I know you're dedicated and I know you're in it, and I appreciate you that much more. Do what David D does. David D now is not only a name, but he's also a motto. Greetings to you as well, my friend. How many Matthew Schaefer jerseys have you already brought, David? I'm just curious. I'm guessing about 5. You have like a fisherman, a Stan Fischler, Matthew Schaefer jersey going on. You got one of those? It wouldn't shock me, brother. It wouldn't shock me if you did. All right. We know what we need to do. We got some New York Jets football to talk about, and I'm feeling it. I think I got a chant in me. I think you've got a chant in you. So everybody, say it proud, say it loud. Jets, 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 Jets. The past is something we are not necessarily proud of. The present is yucky, but there is a potential future of glory on the horizon. Can I get a witness from the congregation? So let's talk about what's been going on with the Jets. About the trade deadline, I was able to do a quick video for the Sauce trade. Unfortunately, I got pulled into meetings for 2 hours, so by the time I got out, I'd heard about the Quinn Williams trade, but it was really too late for me to even really do a proper Quinnen trade video. So we'll talk about that. I do want to mention before we get into it, Michael Carter, his trade to the Eagles will save the Jets $20.5 million in cash and clears up $16 million in cap space for 26 and 27. And I'm excited to see John Mechie with the Jets. I love that he's wearing number 3 because he's always got like Mechie 3, like Mechie the 3, like, you know, small L/I/3. Right? So I'm glad that he's got number 3. Jets are going to have some very interesting decisions to make at wide receiver. This is going to be a true meritocracy. You now have quite a few wide receivers. Who's going to step up and claim that starting spot? It's going to be fascinating. So it was Tuesday afternoon, and I had just gone on break. It was about 12:35 in the afternoon, and I checked my phone, and I've got about 15 different notifications between Twitter, between text, and I'm glad I had just gone on break. And I see that Sauce Gardner was traded. Now, going into this, I think we all had names that we had in mind who would get traded. I felt Michael Carter was absolutely the most likely one to get traded. That happened. After that, I expected Quincy Williams. I thought Quinn Williams had a chance. I figured Breece Hall. I didn't think they were going to get a whole lot of value for him. So I really was thinking MC2 and Quincy would be the two to go. Maybe Quinn Williams if they got enough. And one name I just could not envision being traded was Sauce Gardner right after they had signed him to a brand new contract. But it is true. And to me, there's no doubt. He is a top 5 cornerback in football. And he was either the best or second best cornerback in football his first 2 years. Now, it's very interesting. Sauce is one of the most polarizing Jets that we have ever had. There's no doubt about it. Some Jet fans, he is their favorite player. Some Jet fans are quick to call him overrated. And I think we use the word overrated a little bit too much. I think we use overrated too much like we use GOAT too much. It gets thrown out way too freely in my mind. Sauce was not a playmaker, but there is more to being a cornerback than getting interceptions. I mean, is someone going to try to tell me that Brandon Eccles, who got interceptions, was a better cover corner than Sauce Gardner? He wasn't. Okay? Sauce is an excellent cover corner. To me, I saw more of an effort to tackle this season in the run game. I think over the last few weeks, he really tried to do that. Unfortunately, he tended to get hurt when he tried to do that. And with that in mind, I can see why he would tend to shy away from contact when possible. I can tell you another cornerback who kind of shied away from that kind of contact. His name was Deion Sanders. Of course, though, Dion did take the ball away. But as far as coverability goes, I mean, Sauce to me is still one of the top ones in the NFL. But Aaron Glenn wants a playmaker at cornerback like he was. And the truth is, even though Sauce did attempt to tackle, early on it didn't go well. This year he has a 13% missed tackle rate. Aaron Glenn is not going to accept that. Rusty Spooner, what's going on, my man? I know, Rusty. I can't imagine you have an opinion on the Jets week. We don't know Rusty to be very opinionated. Good to see you, brother. Aaron Gardner being traded sent a message to the team. Anyone could go. Yeah, just except Garrett Wilson. I would end the sentence with except Garrett Wilson and Austin McNamara. Do not trade our punter. We need to keep Austin McNamara. Damn it. All right. So as far as the contract situation goes, so Sauce had a $30 million option due on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. So if the Jets had moved him after the deadline, it would have meant a very large dead cap hit. So the Jets, when they structured that extension in the offseason, they gave him a very small signing bonus, about $13 million, and they backed it up by future option bonuses later on. It was a backloaded contract. Okay, so those option bonuses are now up to Indianapolis. So over the next 2 years, what that basically means is the Jets only have a $19.75 million dead cap hit for Sauce Gardner. So $8.75 million this year, $11 million in 2026, and you're clear. I love that because next year Aaron Rodgers has a pretty big cap hit as well. But we're looking to get rid of all these big cap hits, all this damage after 2026. And people talk about how the Jets have cap room going into next season, 2027. They're going to have a ton of cap room again because they'll be clearing off a lot of dead money. So the Jets paid $14.4 million to Sauce for this season for 9 weeks of work. And in exchange, what do they get? 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The Jets saving all this money is just crazy. So now the Jets for 2026 have joined 3 other teams with 2 first-round picks: Cleveland, the Rams, and the Cowboys. From what I saw, I was a little surprised the Cowboys have that. I guess because of Micah Parsons. So there are now 4 teams with 2 first-round picks. So we got to root for Indy. They're going to make the playoffs. We got to root for them to lose and lose quickly. So, Sauce Gardner, let's do this. We appreciate you. You were fun to have for a while. Your Sauce of Buffalo Wild Wings was all right. It's all right. And you played very good cover, and you gave us some excitement. But ultimately, you didn't get us the wins that we wanted, and you didn't really make the plays that we wanted. So we appreciate you. We wish you well. But as far as Sauce Gardner with the New York Jets goes, there's only one thing to say. He gone! He gone! Onward and upward. I hope you like cornbread, and I hope you like high school basketball, and I hope you like driving past wind farms, because that's pretty much what you got in Indianapolis. And shrimp cocktail with sauce that's way too spicy. Just saying. Indianapolis doesn't have a whole heck of a lot going for it. It's all, and I've been there a couple of times. Believe me, it's well located, but come on. All right, so Jets won when Gardner was not in the lineup. Well, a lot of that is because Cincinnati has a defense about as soft as Sherman. They have his replacement already on the roster. Exactly. I've been hearing some people say, well, the Jets are going to use one of those picks on a quarterback, and they're going to hope he's as good as Sauce. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Rusty, we're always going to laugh anyway. You put your opinion out there, you're going to get, people are going to react to it. I know. I've experienced it. I'm not going to insult the guy personally, though. I don't want to do that. And if you did say that, then hey, credit. You were exactly right. You were exactly right. I just try to I always think it's important to be fair. I'll point out when I'm right, but I will point out when I'm wrong. Hey, I was excited about Andre Sisco getting signed as a free agent. That didn't work out all that well. I can be honest about it. All right, so we get these 2 first-round picks from Indy in 2026 and 2027, and they get A.D. Mitchell. Now, let's talk about him for a second. All right, Mitchell is 23 years old. He's got a good frame, 6'2", 205 pounds. So usually when you think of these really fast receivers, you tend to think of them, I think, as being small. A.D. Mitchell, 6'2", so he's got a little bit of size. Second-round pick last year. Oh, Pete Alonso won the Silver Slugger. Oh, whoop-de freaking do. Second-round pick last season. Now, last year, 2024, he played 17 games, 23 catches on 55 targets, 312 yards. What do I have this after that? And I'll get to that. All right. 101 yards after the catch, and his catch percentage, so the catches he made versus balls thrown to him, was 41.8%. 2025, he's only played 8 games, 9 catches on 16 targets, 152 yards, so about the same pace. 51 yards after the catch, about the same pace again. But here's what I do like. Last year, his catch percentage was 41.8. This year, it's 56.3. So Mitchell is getting open more. He's battling for catches much better than he was, and his hands are more reliable than they've been in the past. So these are things that when you're looking for lottery tickets, which is what these pieces are, you're looking for encouraging signs. And Mitchell is showing some positive signs. Yes, he dropped the football about a second before he was going to walk into the end zone, and the coaching staff never really forgave him for that. But at least unlike Malachi Corley, when he did it, Mitchell said it was, you're never going to see me do that again. He really humbled himself. He learned from it. Whereas Corley was stubborn, he was headstrong, he could not admit screwing up. And if you don't have it here, you can only get so far in the NFL. So I do have some encouragement with Mitchell. A couple things that I pulled from his scouting report. Positives. Above average long speed can be a vertical threat if he gets out to stride undeterred. So it's a situation where you want to get him in space, and other cornerbacks are going to try to bump him within those first 5 yards to throw him off his route. Good flexibility and body control. A long, lanky frame, but moves smoothly. Yes, you want a good, easy, natural stride. A functional route runner on the vertical route tree, at his best with go routes, posts, and digs. Very good hand-eye coordination and natural ability to attack the ball away from his frame. Wide catch radius. That's encouraging to me, because how many receivers in the NFL can run fast, but they got to be open to make a catch? If they've got tight coverage, they ain't making that catch. Should I run down the names? Now the negatives. Hot and cold with the yak, with the yards after the catch. He can be slow to get into that long speed. He's not necessarily quick. He's fast, but he's not quick, and there is a difference. So he has good long speed, but the short speed, not quite as great. So his attacking the ball in the air when it's contested is inconsistent. That's something he's been getting a little bit better at, and his blocking is not that great. And that actually kind of made me laugh, because I feel like for the last few years, pretty much since Aaron Rodgers came along, when the Jets were bringing in wide receivers, there were two kinds they were bringing in. Receivers that Aaron Rodgers knew and good blockers. As if all of a sudden blocking is the most important thing a wide receiver can do, right? Why? Yes, blocking is part of your job, but it's not the main part of your job. I'll use the analogy. It's like getting on a 747 just to get the free pretzels and peanuts. That's not why you're getting on an airplane. I hope the analogy made sense, but anyway. So A.D. Mitchell, I'm excited to get him, to add him to the wide receiver room along with John Mechie. You know what? Anything that pushes Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard down the depth chart, I'm in favor of it. That's how I'm feeling. Harlan, giving up blocking might not be so good. We still have some good blocking wide receivers. Eventually, you need production. You need catches. And these other guys just aren't doing that. Wesley, the Colt fans are pissed that AD got let go. He was a fan favorite there. Let's go Atlanta in Germany. Oh, my gosh. Hey, last week I finally picked Atlanta correctly. It took till week freaking 9 for me to get the Falcons game right, but I finally picked them correctly. It was the first time I got the Falcons right and the first time I got the Jets wrong. I hadn't picked the Jets to win a game all season. Amazing. But yeah, let's go Atlanta in Germany. That's right. Yeah. Root against the Colts. Bottom line, root against the Colts for the next year and a half. Swig of water for the working man and woman. All right. So then after that, we had Jermaine Johnson posting the Michael Jackson popcorn meme from Thriller. And the Michael Jackson meme. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So I wonder if that was him waiting on himself or the rest of his teammates. Thankfully, JJ did not go anywhere. The Bears and the Niners apparently both inquired about him, but gave nowhere near enough to get him. And to me, I wouldn't trade JJ for anything less than a 2 and maybe like a mid-round pick. It would take him for me maybe a 2, and I would say maybe a 4 to even begin to consider it. I wouldn't expect a 1, but with what JJ gives you, the leadership, the 2A ability, I did not want to lose him at all. Who's Michael Jackson? Don't stop till you get enough. And that's as much as you're getting from me tonight with the singing. All right. So then I head into meetings for about an hour and a half, and then the meetings finish, and I see the Jets got back to work, and there goes Quinnen Williams off to the Dallas Cowboys. So 3-time Pro Bowler, 40 sacks, the 11th most in Jets history. And remember, Q was in the mix for the Micah Parsons trade before Parsons was traded to Green Bay. And I'm not bothered with that because the Jets would have had to sign Parsons to a contract. And it really seemed like this was best for both parties. A mutual party was needed after, 6 years? Quinnen did not like the way he was being used in Steve Wilkes' defense with the way he was lined up and the way he was being asked to play. His contract is out of guaranteed money after this season. The Jets were not going to extend him. So this season, he had requested a trade reportedly 3 separate times. And he has every right to do that. He was here for a long time. He played well for us. He has the right to want to go win somewhere. I'm a little bit questioning if the Dallas is the team he's going to go do that with. How about them Cowboys defense, huh? So he's traded Dallas, and now don't forget, he's reunited with Aaron Whitecotton in Dallas, who was the Jets defensive line coach for a couple of years then. So the Jets get a 2026 second and a 2027 first, whichever of the first-round picks is better between Green Bay and Dallas, because that was one of the Micah Parsons picks that was traded. And remember that 2027 first, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. The Jets have 3 first-round picks in 2027. And from what you hear from most of these draft prognosticators, if you trust them, is that class looks much better than 2026. Not even factoring in quarterbacks, I'm going to give you a couple of names to remember. Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State. Dylan Stewart, edge, South Carolina. Colin Simmons, edge, Texas. Cam Coleman, wide receiver, Auburn. Ryan Williams, wide receiver, Alabama. Leonard Moore, cornerback, Notre Dame. Even Jordan Seaton, the offensive tackle from Colorado. There are a lot of very, very highly rated prospects in this draft class, and the Jets are going to be in very good position to draft 1, 2, maybe 3 of them. So, Quinnen, we thank you for your time, but you gave us 6 good years. You were a good Jet, maybe a little bit underappreciated. We wish you the best in Dallas, but just like Sauce Gardner, he gone as well. So, Quinnen, by the way, go try some Twisted Root Burger down there. Last time I was there, I had a nice glass of watermelon root beer and one of the best burgers in town. So definitely enjoy Twisted Root Burger, maybe some Bob's Chop House. With the money that you make, you can afford a couple of steaks over at Bob's. All right. So then we bring in those 2 draft picks as well as Mozzie Smith, and that was an interesting acquisition. This is a player that a lot of us like pre-draft, a lot of the mock drafts. You would see a lot of the Jets content creators who do the mock drafts. They would get Mozzie in the second round. Well, he never made it to the second round. He was a first round pick of the Cowboys in 2023. He's got size. He's got strength. He's got athleticism. Hasn't worked out in Dallas, though. He was actually a healthy scratch on Monday. 24 years old, started Michigan for 2 years. This year, he's played 5 games, had 3 tackles in his career, 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, and 4 missed tackles. Clearly, this new staff did not like him. He didn't like them. And just like with Quinnen, it was better for both sides to part company, except one of these players has been far more productive than the other. So this is the trade to me this is the one that's going to hurt short term, okay? Because what's left at defensive tackle? Harrison Phillips, Juwan Briggs, Jay Tafele, Peyton Page, and Mozzie Smith. That run defense, which was bad to begin with, it'll look like it's Hey, I'll give you another Michael Jackson reference. It's going to look like it's doing the moonwalk, constantly getting pushed backwards on their heels. That's right. 2 Michael Jackson references in one show. There you go. Not going to stop till we get enough. All right. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get into the draft picks in a moment. But so, Rusty, hopefully in 2026, the Colts are terrible. It's possible. It is possible. And pick number 1 and Dallas or Green Bay number 2. That's pushing it. That's pushing. The Cowboys are always going to be somewhere in the middle, and the Packers are going to be good. There's just, unless the quarterbacks get seriously injured, they're not going to be bad teams. We fleeced on Tuesday. 2026 is really good, but 2027 is ridiculous. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll even do a mock draft next week or something. I don't know. I'm not going to do one tonight, but I think maybe next week we'll do one. Who knows? And of course, when you're doing a mock draft this early, you're just going by the coolest sounding names and the best schools and, metrics, things like that. So I can't say be the most educated mock draft, but maybe we'll do that. Harlan, Smith is a good defensive tackle, nose tackle. Things don't always work out with the team that drafted him. Yeah, and it certainly hasn't worked out in Dallas. Maybe it can work out with the Jets. Tell you what, he'll get every chance, and we got to see these kids play. I don't really need to see J.T. Fale play. I don't need to see Josh Reynolds play. I don't need to see Alan Lazard play. Give these young players an opportunity. You have 9 games. You don't, the playoffs are not at stake here. Deep down, you want a better draft pick. Let's be honest. Okay? You want to win every game. You want your players to play the best for you, but deep down, it's a mixed bag is what it really is. So let's see what these kids can do. So in the future, what is this looking like? So in the next 2 years, we have 21 picks. So this is sort of the breakdown of the chart. 5 first-round picks, 2 in 2026, and 3 in 2027. 3 second-round picks, 1 third-round pick, 2 fourth-round picks. Now, the expectation here is 3 fifths. Now, I want to get into this for just a little bit. I've looked at a couple different places on what the expected draft picks are that we're going to have going forward. And different websites are giving me different things. What it really comes to, there's 2 factors, the conditional pick trades and the comp picks. Okay. So I'm going with the expectation that everything will happen as it is currently expected to happen. I'm going forward with it. So I'm counting on, in the 5th round, Baltimore's 2026 5th round pick, a comp pick for Morgan Moses. I'm going to show you a comp pick chart in a moment. And the Jets have their own. 2026, you have the Buffalo 6th round pick for Brandon Codrington. 2027, Derek Nottie gets us a 6th. And 2027, we get another 6 from Philadelphia for Michael Carter. And then for the 7th round pick, we have Buffalo's 2026 as well. Yeah, we got a lot from Buffalo. I think that was the Harrison Phillips trade. 2026 from Tennessee and the Jarvis Brownlee trade. And 2 comp picks as well. Yep, Rusty, we're getting into the comps right now. All right, so I'm going to pull the chart up. Now, this is from Over the Cap, and it has updated a little bit from a couple of months ago even. So hopefully everybody can see this. This was, I couldn't make it a whole lot bigger than this. So we could see, it's just strange. Javon Kinlaw and Brandon Stevens canceled out. DJ Reed and Andre Cisco canceled out. And now, this is what's changed. Hassan Reddick and Justin Fields have canceled out. But again, it's all about how much money they make. So what it leaves the Jets with is now Morgan Moses, because before Hassan Reddick was counting towards the comp pick formula, he is not anymore. Now it's Morgan Moses. So the expectation is we'll get a 5th round pick as a comp pick, and then Brandon Eccles and Solomon Thomas will net a 7th round comp picks as well. So before we were thinking it would be a 4 and 3 sevenths. It's not looking quite as good anymore, but still a 5th and 2 sevenths. That's a lot better than what we've had over the last 10 to 15 to 20 years. So again, we're looking at, this is the same chart. So we're looking at 21 total draft picks to work with. All right. And again, the fact that so many of them are in the first 2 rounds, that's what means everything. Because remember, the Idzik 12, the Idzik 13, whatever it was when Idzik made all those draft picks. Most of those picks were in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. Okay. It's not like we had multiple 1st round picks to work with here or multiple 2nd round picks. We drafted Calvin Pryor and Jay Samaro. Just 2 wonderful, wonderful, absolute Ring of Honor members any day now. I'm sure that announcement's happening real soon. Maybe that'll happen about the same time. The Jets lower ticket prices happening any day now. All right. So that's what we're looking at as far as draft picks go. All right. So what does all this mean? Before I get into the injuries, I'm actually going to take this off for a second here. So what does all this mean after the trade deadline, and what are we really looking at here? First of all, people who want, and there's one or two people in here, they know I guess I'm kind of addressing them. Aaron Glenn's not getting fired. It's time to just hold off on the Aaron Glenn firing talk. It's not going to happen. Darren Muji is not going anywhere either. Aaron Glenn is getting at least 2 years and most likely 3 before Woody Johnson even considers the idea of making a change. Don't forget, Aaron Glenn got a 5-year contract, and we know it's double-digit $1 million per year. All right. Costello reported that in the New York Post. We know it's at least $10 million a year for 5 years, maybe even a little bit more than that. You could say he overpaid him. It's all subjective. It's not my money. It's not your money that's going to Aaron Glenn's bank account. So Aaron Glenn's not going anywhere. And the fact that we have all these draft picks, they're going to allow Glenn to see this rebuild through. I like that. Rusty, we better draft the field goal kicker in 26 or 27. I can't stand not having a great kicker. Well, we have a great one right now. He's just old. And just letting the good ones we have leave. Yeah, referring to Jason Myers, people like that. A great kicker is crucial. Okay. How do I say this? Can we get an actual car before we get worried about putting rims on the tires? You know, we need the car first before we can use the rims. A kicker is nice to have. A kicker is important to have. But I'm a little more worried about quarterback, about edge rusher, and about getting a few more weapons on this team. And we still don't know if Aaron Glenn is the right head coach for this team. There's a lot safety help. Oh my God, need a lot of help there. So a kicker is nice, but you know what? That can wait. And also, you can always get a decent undrafted kicker as well. If I remember correctly, I don't think Steven Gostkowski, Adam Vinatieri, or Justin Tucker, I don't think any of them were drafted, if I remember correctly. I don't think. So kicker is one of those positions that you can find out of absolutely nowhere. Was Brandon Aubrey even? I got to look at, was Brandon Aubrey drafted? I think he might have. Nope. Brandon Aubrey was not even drafted into the NFL. He was drafted by the Birmingham Stallions in the 32nd round of the 2022 USFL draft. Oh my God. So while a kicker is important, you don't need to draft them. Rusty, I'm now thinking of a Chris Rock joke, but I can't say it because it's too racist. But it is a pretty funny Chris Rock joke. I will say that. But I'm not gonna say that. I can't go there. All right, so I look at the roster. I look at the remaining 9 games. Short term, I hate what happened on Tuesday. Short term. The Jets became a worse team. There's no doubt about it. I would be surprised if they win 3 more games this season. Long term, it could be amazing. They got lottery tickets with a ton of potential, but as we all know, you need to hit on the on these lottery tickets. Jimmy Johnson oversaw one of the greatest rebuilds in the history of the NFL. Maybe that, along with Vince Lombardi in Green Bay. Maybe the 2 best and fastest turnarounds that there ever was in the NFL. Jimmy Johnson said this: the Herschel Walker trade isn't what made the Cowboys great. It was hitting on the picks that they got from the Herschel Walker trade that made the Cowboys great. Those extra picks turned into players like Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, and in the secondary, Kevin Smith, Darren Woodson, Clayton Holmes. I mean, several of these guys are Hall of Famers. And things like the Brownlee trade, the Jarvis Brownlee trade, are very encouraging signs that this team knows how to evaluate talent and they go out and get what they want. That encourages me. And hopefully that also applies to drafting. Now, to those who would come back and say, well, what about Justin Fields? That was the quarterback they identified and they wanted to go get him. How'd that evaluation work out? Well, look, I never really viewed Justin Fields as anything more than a 2-year stopgap. And I really don't think this administration did either. It's a thing where we hope it'll work. We're not expecting it to work, but let's take a chance. If it works out, all the better. It's not working out, okay? Justin Fields is a very week-to-week quarterback where you don't know what you're going to get from him on a given Sunday. And I'll tell you what, he could succeed against this Cleveland defense, which is very, very good. That'll tell me something. Because so far, who's he succeeded against? Pittsburgh? They can rush the passer, but they can't do much else. And the Cincinnati defense, I've seen high school defenses play with more effort, passion, and desire than they do. Rusty, you sound like a broken record. This is the same thing that you sent us last week, bro. Yeah, you can see it, but realistically, I think you're envisioning the worst. So anything better than that, it won't hurt as bad because you want to think of the worst just so it doesn't disappoint you. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to. So, yeah, to me, Fields has always been a 2-year stopgap, and I think the brass looks at him the same way. All right, now as far as let me get rid of one of these things here. All right, as far as injuries go, not a whole lot of news. We're talking about Andre Cisco is out for the season with a pec tear. You know what? The signing didn't work out as well as we would have wanted, but it was a 1-year contract. Jets can get out of it. No harm, no foul. It's fine. So Tony Adams returns to the starting lineup alongside Malachi Moore. And Garrett Wilson is back practicing. He has been limited both Wednesday and Thursday. He says he's ready to go. We'll see if it's a full slate. The only other player who's even limited in practice is Kiko Malagoa. And did not practice this week. So that is encouraging that the Jets definitely got healthier after the bye. Okay. So let's move on from there. It is time to get into, it's time for that weekly segment. It is time to get into Tankathon. Oh, yes. Yes. Time to get into Tankathon. Look at the standings. Look at our odds and see what has happened. And hey, the Jets didn't play this week, but a whole lot happened at the trade deadline. So how, after everything that has happened over the last couple of days, how has this affected our draft odds? All right. I'll go through this again. So ESPN, their Football Pro Index, projects the draft order each week. They simulate the remainder of the season 10,000 times. Now, I want to point one thing out. The standings that I'm going to show you in a moment from FPI, they were released at 1:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday. So they factored in the Sauce Gardner trade. It did not factor in the Quinnen Williams trade. So that's important to point out. So we look at this. First, the standings. Let's do the standings first, actually. So I've got lines between the 1-win, the 2-win, and the 3-win teams. So, you know what? Let me see if I can get myself out of there. There we go. Yeah. I want to blow it up a little more for you all. All right. So Tennessee and New Orleans are both 1-8. Jets have played one less game, so they're a half a game out. But again, look at the strength of schedule. So right now, the Jets have a 507 strength of schedule. And the tiebreaker is easiest strength of schedule. So right now, they are barely ahead of Tennessee, and they are way ahead of New Orleans. And that one's important because Tennessee, they may not be looking to draft a quarterback after they just drafted Cam Ward, but New Orleans sure will. And if the Jets and Saints do finish tied, it is looking very likely at this point that the Jets would finish ahead of the Saints in the draft order. And then after that, you've got Miami and the Giants. The Giants are not looking for a quarterback. Miami probably would draft one, I think, at this point. Miami a little bit in front of the Jets. The Giants a good deal behind. Cleveland, that's why this week is so big, 2-6. If both those if the Jets win that game, the teams will be tied. And look at Cleveland's strength of schedule, just 468. Okay, so Cleveland would likely pull ahead of the Jets if the Jets win this game on Sunday. Then you've got the Raiders at 2-5. They're looking for a quarterback. They have the same strength of schedule as the Jets, as does Cincinnati. And then you have Washington at 3-6 as well. They have a 5-10 strength of schedule, so they would be a little bit behind the Jets there. So that's what we're looking at with the standings. Now, as far as the draft goes, with the odds. All right, so currently the Jets have actually dropped a 4.4 for their average draft position. That surprised me. So 3.9, and so last week it was 3.9. Their odds to earn the number one pick dropped from 20.4 to 14.8. The top 5 odds dropped from 77 to 70, and even a top 10 pick dropped ever so slightly, 96.7 to 96.3. To give you a comparison, there are 3 teams currently ahead of the Jets in projected draft position. Tennessee at 3.1, New Orleans at 3.3, and Cleveland at 3.9. And odds for first overall pick, Tennessee is at 29.4, New Orleans 26.6, Cleveland all the way down at 19.1, Jets at 14.8. So again, now that you have to factor in the Quinn and Williams trade, does that change some of this up? It definitely bears in fact. And how will this change after Sunday, after the Jets-Browns game? All right, now the other thing that I want to bring up is the draft power ranking. So this is another feature on Tankathon. They total up the value of every team's draft pick, and then they give it a total rating to figure out which team has the most powerful draft. Now, last week when we did this, the Jets were 9th overall, 9th, and that was having the second overall pick in the draft. After this week's games were over, the Jets actually dropped. So on Monday, they dropped from 9th to 12th in power rankings. 9th to 12th. After these trades, what happened? We're number one. We're number one. You gotta be happy about something. So I gave you the top 12 here, but the Jets pulled ahead now that they've added those additional that extra first round pick and the other picks they've added. They're at 1,252. So they pull ahead a little bit of Cleveland and those two teams well ahead of New Orleans. Then you've got Miami, Pittsburgh, Houston, Tennessee, the Rams, the Raiders, the Ravens, the Eagles, and well behind them, the Giants. So clearly the Jets and Browns are well ahead. And keep in mind, these standings are with the Jets with the third draft pick. Imagine if they moved up to 1 or 2, it would skyrocket even more. It really, really would. So, and also, another thing, Jets don't even have a third-round draft pick. So, yeah, Jets are projected to have picks number 3 and 32. So that is pretty crazy. Okay, so we'll get out of that for a moment. All right, so I'm going to get into then we'll get into some of the main content here. Yeah, then we'll get into the game preview, but I won't do any slides for this. So, just talking about the rookies for a second. You know, the Jets draft picks have played a combined 2,309 snaps. That's certainly the highest in the league. Membu's played 513, Taylor 426, Arian Smith 276, A.Z. Thomas 101, Malachi Moore 336, Kiko Malagoa 265, Tyler Barron 75, Peyton Page and Kobe King have both played 3. So it is definitely baptism by fire, and it's going to happen even more because A.Z. Thomas's snaps are going to go way up. The question I do have, though, what happens to Arian Smith? You brought in John Mechie, and you brought in A.D. Mitchell. Somebody's going to lose some snaps. Who's it going to be? Arian Smith, I'll tell you, he hasn't had a lot of production, but when we do our snap counts, he's been playing about half the game as of late. And I got to tell you, Tyler Johnson, he's been pretty good. I know nobody really wants to invest in him, but he could stretch the field. He can make some explosive plays for you. Right now, if I had to guess, I think Garrett and Tyler Johnson are going to be the starters at wide receiver this Sunday at MetLife Stadium. And then after that, they'll kind of work in Mechie. They'll kind of work in Mitchell. I wouldn't be surprised if Arian Smith was in single digits for snaps this week. And that's a little bit of a concern. So, but again, this is not a passing offense. This is an offense that needs to run the ball to be effective. So, and also Mason Taylor emerging the way he's emerging, that takes more opportunities away from wide receivers. So that's definitely one thing I'll be watching for this Sunday against Cleveland is what do the Jets do at wide receiver? Do they play 2? Do they work some of the newcomers in? Who gets the bulk of the reps? I'm going to be very interested in that. All right, so now I want to talk about 5 issues or 5 questions really for the second half of the year. 5 things I want to watch for going forward over these final 9 games. And I'm not talking about wins, losses, that's obvious, but I want to talk about something else. And the first one goes back to what I was just talking about. Can these rookies take more steps forward? Armand Membu, to me, looks like a very, very, very good right tackle right now. And in that first year, it usually takes a minute. I mean, even in Andrew Thomas with the Giants, his first year, he didn't look so good. Armand Membu looks like an excellent run blocker and like he can be an even better pass blocker than what he is right now. He's had 1 or 2 rough games, but I think this looks like an excellent draft pick. Do we see growth from Mason Taylor, specifically in his blocking abilities? He can catch, he could run a route, but I would like to see a little bit better blocking from him. A.Z. Thomas, hey, I was going to wonder if he was going to get more playing time. That question's been answered. But what does he do with it when he's playing entire games? Now, this week against Cleveland, you're not exactly seeing a dynamite offense. But against teams like New England, against Buffalo, when you're trying to cut, when you have to deal with Lamar Jackson, what do? Can we get Arian Smith going? What does his future look like? Malachi Moore, he's starting right now, but he has to improve his tackling more than anything. Can he get a little bit better at that? Kiko Malagoa, can we count on him as a starting linebacker? Now, I'm going to get into the Quincy Williams news in just a little bit, but also, but now I think this is going to give Kiko a much bigger opportunity than what he would have otherwise had. Number 2, can this team compete with the best teams that they'll be facing on their schedule? The Ravens, the Patriots, they got Buffalo the last week of the season, and we know Buffalo already embarrassed them in their own building. Give these teams a game. Stay in it for 4 quarters. I can live with losing games because we don't have the level of talent that some of these other teams do. But keep fighting, keep competing, keep trying different things and see what happens. Number 3, can this offensive line continue to come together? They have played very well at times. They were amazing against Cincinnati, put up a shutout. No sacks, no pressures allowed. But there have been games where they have been absolutely schooled. And this week, trying to stop Myles Garrett and Mason Graham, this is a step up in weight class, boys and girls. Because they might allow – I've seen some of these offensive linemen, they'll allow no pressures. Next game, they'll allow 5 or 6 pressures. Let's get a little more consistency there. Number 4, can this team develop a pass rush? Can they get a consistent pass rush? Will McDonald has been very disappointing to me in this season. And I think a lot of these players were suited for the previous regime style of defense. They were suited for Saleh and Ulbrich. They're not necessarily suited for Steve Wilks. That's one reason Quinnen's not here. That's why Sauce isn't here. That's why Quincy Williams is now not starting anymore. Maybe Will is the same thing. But they're not. But here's the thing. Without Quinnen, you can't expect the pass rush up the middle the rest of the year. The Jets are also allowing 136 rushing yards per game. And all right, now I'm going to talk about Quincy Williams getting benched now. I actually agree with the Jets coaching staff. I think he has underachieved. I think he has been disappointing this year. He needs to be in an aggressive style of defense. That's what suits his game. This defense is more read and react, and I think that is causing him to hesitate and to not make plays. It used to be Quincy Williams' biggest problem was over pursuing. Now it's like he's not even in position to make a play most of the time. He doesn't look confident. He doesn't look fearless. I feel like Quincy has actually lost a little bit of swagger, and that worries me. His tackling, we talk about missed tackle problems. There's no bigger culprit of that than Quincy Williams. Since 2022, all right, I'm going to give you the last 4 seasons of Quincy Williams' missed tackle rate. So in 2022, 7.8. 2023, 8.6. 2024 last year, 10.8. So slight increases. This year, 24.1. Quincy Williams is missing one. He is missing 1 out of every 4 tackle opportunities that he has. His missed tackle rate has more than doubled in 1 year. Now, I don't know what was out there for him. I don't know if San Francisco made a trade offer for him to bring him in so he could be with Saleh again. If Dallas wanted to bring both Quincy and Quinnen in, we know that Dallas wound up getting Logan Wilson from Cincinnati, who had formally requested a trade. But if you were that certain, and this came out Wednesday, one day after the trade deadline, it's not like Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks woke up and said, "I'll be damned. I'm gonna bench Quincy Williams for the rest of the season, or at least take away his starting job until he proves otherwise." I would be surprised if they didn't at least get some offer, because I don't expect them to get anything back in compensation. I don't think he's going to get a huge contract. But if you could have at least gotten a 5th-round pick, to me, that's something you had to do. And then you just roll with Kiko and Jamian, and you just do that, because Quincy Williams does not look comfortable here, in my opinion, at all. And I'm going to respond to these right now. We should try Will McDonald at linebacker. Dude is athletic enough for it to be a beast at that position. Rusty, I think if we were playing the 3-4, I could see that working. But in a 4-3, you would want to get Will clean shots to the quarterback, and I don't think you're going to be doing that in a 4-3 with him as one of the outside linebackers. Just my opinion. You just want him going right after it, because I think that puts more responsibility on him to be a good run defender, which we already know he's not very good at. So, and especially right now, like if you have a lights out, if you have like Warren Sapp and Dominic and those types of guys, defensive tackle, okay, they could clog up some space. Maybe that would work. You don't have that now. So I'm not seeing Will as a 4-3 linebacker. Harlan thinks the Jets should blitz more. Here's the thing with that, Harlan. I feel like the Jets did blitz a lot more early on in the season, and they would get burned a lot because they weren't covering well enough, especially at safety. And even at linebacker, I would throw that in as well. Jamie wasn't covering very well. And the Jets defense actually started to get better when they were rushing 4. Now, there's a time to blitz, but I feel like they almost went too blitz heavy early on, and it was really hurting them. So that's just my opinion on that. But now without Quinnen, they may have to blitz a little bit more to get any kind of pressure. So that's something that they really have to figure out. And against a rookie quarterback who, I'm sorry, has never really impressed me this Sunday, this might be a good time to do some blitzing. Against Josh Allen, I don't think so. I would have bet, if I had to bet on one team getting one player, it'd been the Niners getting Quincy. I don't know. After losing Fred Warner, it made all the sense in the world, but it didn't happen. Hey, Tony. Clemens playing 70% of snaps, so unsure a number 1 pick. Well, what are you going to do? Hey, maybe play him up the middle. Could it be worse than Jay Tafele? Actually, no, I want to see Payne Page. I want to see Mozzie Smith. I want to see those guys play in the middle. Definitely fewer penalties. I will say this. The Jets have definitely cut down their penalties. There's no doubt about that. I think I had a number. What did the Jets put out between week 6 and 9? They had really dropped their penalty numbers, something like that. Yeah, you know that you're desperate for good numbers when you put between week 6 and 9. We're like in the top 5 in penalties and penalty yards. It's like, okay, that's improvement. Okay, whoop-de-frickin' do. Then a ham sandwich will get me lunch. Oh, yeah, week 6 to 9, the Jets are number 1 for fewest penalties. They've only taken 11. Although one of those weeks was the bye. Can I point that out, please? Week 6 to 9. You had a bye in week 9, you imbeciles. You had a bye in week 9. So you had one less game to screw up. Come on. Gosh. Also number 1 in penalty yards against, 66. Okay, good. So that was really in 3 weeks, not 4. Let's be honest. Rusty, past 2 weeks, I think we had 3 penalties a game. Well, we had 11 in 3 weeks, so just under 4. Voice getting a little hoarse. I actually did my picks video, or recorded that right before we went on the air. I still have to edit that. Right after we get off the air, I'm going to edit that, and I'll post that. So about 15 minutes or so after we're done, I'm going to go in, edit that video, and I'm going to post that tonight. Friday night, we'll have the Jets. By Friday night, I'll have the Jets preview up and the 5 bowl predictions video up as well for Jets Browns. So be on the lookout for that. Hey, Andy Jets fan, I'm going to see in not too long in Charlotte during the Jets-Ravens game. I'm planning on making the drive from Raleigh out to Charlotte, from one screwed-up city to another screwed-up city in this country. Yeah. Be sure not to take the train because, you can get murdered and nobody will do a damn thing about it in that city. Let's be honest. But good to see you. Hope you're having a great week, my man. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you for sure. All right. So number 5. This is the final thing that I'm looking for, and this also includes the penalties. Can we believe, not hope? All right, fans of losing teams always hope, okay, for better things, but it's blind hope a lot of times. Can we truly believe by the end of the season that we are building a foundation going into 2026 that will catch the attention of the football world? Where it's like, okay, you know what? They start off, they suck, but you know what? They did this. They competed. They battled. They pulled out a few wins here we didn't expect with clearly less talent. The coaches, you know what? That Jets coaching staff, they outcoached this coach. They outcoached Sean McDermott on that day. They outcoached Mike Vrabel on that day. They outcoached John Harbaugh on that day. Can you imagine that actually happening? That is something that would really do something for me. this coaching staff, now that they have traded away the two best defensive players on the team, at least in my opinion, definitely two of the top three, can they keep these players engaged and excited over the next 9 weeks? There have been signs of improvement with the third youngest team in the league. The penalties are the main thing that I could point to. So let's see what winds up happening. But those are things I'm going to be watching for over the next 5 weeks. Okay, so we've done our tankathon. Let's do a little initial game preview video of Jets versus Browns. That's right. That's Garrett making the touchdown catch in the end zone at the Brownie VL Stadium or whatever the hell they call it this week. In that just amazing rally. What a great win that was. 5 things to know about the Cleveland Browns. All right. Tommy Rees, their offensive coordinator, has now taken over play calling duties from head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, Tommy Rees has never been a play caller in the NFL. He has only done that in college at Notre Dame and at Alabama. So let's see what he does. From what I hear, it's a very run-focused offense. He likes using 2 tight ends. Let's see what he winds up doing. Number 2, Cleveland runs only 37% of the time. That's the third lowest in the NFL. And they do this with, not Dylan Gabriel as their quarterback. Also, they get only 3.8 yards per rush. That's third lowest in the NFL. Number 3, the Browns average 5 yards per pass attempt. That is awful. 5 yards per pass attempt. There is no other team in the NFL under 6 yards per pass attempt. Bottom line, they don't get efficient quarterback play at all. All right. I know the Jets defense, they didn't just get a cut. They had, what's the word? Yeah, they basically had a limb removed is what they had. So they are going up against the Cleveland offense that has struggled on both sides of the ball. Number 4, Myles Garrett is second in the NFL in sacks with 10, only behind Brian Burns. Olu Fashanu especially better be ready. I expect Garrett to line up against the left tackle. He'd better be ready for one of the biggest challenges of his life. Because let's be honest, we have seen Myles Garrett literally wreck body parts of Jets quarterbacks in the past. Okay? Where their careers were never the same again. Biggest thing they got to do, contain Myles Garrett. Number 5, the defense. The Cleveland defense only allows 3.6 yards per rush. That's second best in the NFL. This may be a challenge for Breece Hall, for Isaiah Davis, and even Justin Fields. So this is not a game where if you're 10 or extra and you're just going to, all right, let's give it to Breece and run it up the middle. No, you got to get creative with your runs. Now, one of the advantages the Jets should have is that Carson, the middle linebacker, Schlesinger, I think that's how you say it. Their rookie linebacker, who's also their leading tackler, is not expected to play in this game with an ankle sprain. He's not practiced. He's supposed to be out several weeks. The Browns are a little bit beat up on that defense, and that could hurt their ability to stop the run. So that is something to keep in mind. So which of these teams will run the ball better? That's going to be a big factor. I know Cleveland's defense is a lot better than the Jets' defense is right now. Let's see what winds up happening there. All right. Garrett is ridiculous. Fields might get sent to space. That's true. Yeah, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary. We know what he's capable of. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. Tony Alexio, Aaron Glenn. Aren't you the same Tony Alexio who wanted Aaron Glenn fired last week and the week before that? He should be coach of the year for Clemens improvement. All right. Yeah, if I had to give you a coach of the year right now, I think it's got to be Mike McDonald in Seattle. That's one of the first ones I would think of. Or, well, Vrabel, but that's kind of obvious. Vrabel too. Vrabel, McDonald, those are the first two that's coming to mind for me. I can't go NFC North, NFC South. Dave Canales should get some votes in Carolina. He's done pretty well. I got to give him some credit. I don't think Sean Payton in Denver. I don't think I would go there. Oh, and Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. Yeah. So, yeah, Steichen, Vrabel, and McDonald, I think, would be in no particular order your top 3 coaches of the year. AG, yeah. Better luck next year, Aaron. Better luck next year. Man. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. I think it is about that time. Yeah, it is 7 o'clock, according to the old, almost 7 o'clock, according to the clock on the computer and the clock on my cell phone. Turned 7 o'clock already. It's just better if we have a nice even number. But okay, guys, it is now time to do something that we do every single week. By the way, guys, please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Remember, if we get 15 likes, we're going to spin the wheel. And right now, we're a little bit short of our goal. So hit that thumbs up. It helps support the channel. Plus, we get to have a little bit more fun afterwards. All right. So every week, you know what happens. I head into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. I head into the Jets dark web, and I, Watch2K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets trivia. There we go. All right. And so as always, I will put 5 minutes on the clock. I will keep track. If you have an answer to the question, then pop it right down there in the chat. I'll let you know if you are correct or if you are incorrect. Oh, by the way, I do have a little show announcement. It looks like next Thursday when the Jets play the Patriots, I will be joining Green Bean's channel. This will be the first time in, I think, 2 or 3 in 2 years, I think, that I've had that 2.5 years I've been on with him. So the plan is that I'll be joining at halftime. I'll be doing some trivia on that show. So next Thursday at halftime, when you have absolutely nothing to do other than take a leak and have another soft pretzel or your snack of choice, or another pig hot dog, or maybe another rib, check out Green Bean's channel. I should be on there at halftime, and I'll be doing some trivia. So, Rusty, Chad Pennington. The answer is always Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington is always. All right, yeah. There's 2 always correct answers: Chad Pennington and Lee Cravat. All right. So tonight's question. So this is going to be a Jets Browns trivia question. So we're going to go back a couple of years. We're going to go back to the COVID year. We're going to go back to the year 2020. All right. Now, this was the last time the Jets won a home game against Cleveland. All right. It's been 5 years. They won 23-16. So 2020. My question, this was a very dark age for Jets football. I know we're still living in the dark ages, but that roster that Joe Douglas inherited was pretty bad. Name the 2 Jets defenders who forced Cleveland fumbles in that game. So 2020. One of them actually forced 2 fumbles in that game. The other one is still in the league. One of them I don't think is in the league anymore. I don't believe if he is, I don't think he's on an NFL team. Yeah, I think, this one player, this guy's been out of the NFL for 2 years. He was around for about 5-6 years. And the other one is still in the NFL, but he is not a Jet. So neither of these players are current Jets. So no Quincy, no Jamian. So 2 Jet defenders who forced Cleveland fumbles. And I can tell they are not in the secondary. So think front 7. I feel like I got to narrow this down a little bit. I feel like this is a little bit harder. So 2 Jet defenders, 2020, think front 7. One is no longer in the league, and another one is still in the league, but he is on another team. All right, Indy says Williams I think he's trying to cover Quinnen and Quincy. Is that correct? No. We have no Williams here. Rusty Spinner says Moses. Did you mean Mosley? Yeah, because Morgan Moses, of course, is an offensive tackle. So I'm going to assume you mean C.J. Mosley. So C.J. Mosley. Indy says Leonard. 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 I'm thinking Leonard Williams. All right. Is it Leonard Williams? No. Yeah. So we got front 7. One is retired. I don't know whether clue I can give you on him. One of these is difficult. I'll give it. The other one is the other one became a pretty good linebacker after he left the Jets, shockingly. And it's still in the league. It was in the news not that long ago. Autocorrect? Yeah, I got you, brother. Yeah, so this one player was in the news very recently. Like I think the average football fan knows who this player is. So I'm hoping we get that one. All right, we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, guys. Indy goes with Demario Davis. How about Demario Davis? No, I can see how he fits the criteria of what I mentioned. Let me see if I can come up with another point. This one guy, the hard one, he played at Ohio University, was a third-round pick of Indianapolis, was with the Jets for 3 years, then went on to a couple of other teams. He had an interception against Pittsburgh off the immortal Devlin Hodges. No idea. Rusty goes with Blake Cashman. How about Blake Cashman? No, not Blake Cashman. He wasn't on the field with the Jets long enough to force a fumble, right? I feel like we're gonna get one of them. And the one who I think is a little bit more gettable was with the Jets for 3 years, but he's since gone on to the NFC and he's been he's become a pretty good player. Indy with a few expletives, and then it goes Frankie Louvu. How about Frankie Louvu? That's right, Frankie Louvu. You got it. Was with the Jets for 3 years, went on to Carolina, went to Washington, and was just in the news. He got suspended for 1 game for repeated hip drop tackles. And the punishment was instead reduced to a $100,000 fine following an appeal. So, yes, Frankie Louvu is correct. Yeah, absolutely. Rusty goes with Jordan Jenkins. How about Jordan Jenkins? Oh, all right, we got 30 seconds, guys. This one's going to be a tough one to get this other guy. Again, selected by Indianapolis in 2017, went to Ohio. He also played for the Cowboys for a couple of years, then Tennessee, then Cincinnati, but was more really, you would think of him as more of a special teams player, more of a special teams linebacker. And that's all I'm giving you. It is hard to believe Frankie Louvu was a Jet, isn't it? All right. Yeah. So another player we had that went on to do pretty dang good things. Okay. So the time is up. So Frankie Louvu is correct. The other one who forced 2 fumbles in that game was Terrell Basham. He was with the Jets from 2018 to 2020. And in that game against Cleveland, he forced 2 fumbles. And in 2019, he intercepted Devlin Hodges. Actually, in that Cleveland game, he had 5 tackles, 1 sack, and forced 2 fumbles. And he forced another fumble over the course of the season. So after that, he signed a 2-year contract with the Cowboys. But he dealt with some injuries. And, yeah, he was okay in 2021. But 2022, he injured his quad and was put on IR. So there you go. Terrell Basham and Frankie Louvu. All right. So next week, I will have a trivia question about Jets Patriots, but I've got a couple of questions lined up for the Thursday show along with on Green Bean show. So tune in for that. Yeah, COVID was a blur. Yeah. Rusty, the last 10 years have been a blur. It's been a blurred decade. I don't blame you, my man. I don't blame you for 1 second. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we're going to call it a wrap for the night. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and edit my picks video. I'm going to have that posted for you pretty soon. And by Friday night, you will also have the Jets-Browns full preview video and the 5 bowl predictions and score prediction video as well. I'm actually heading up to Norfolk this week. I'm going to be hanging with the Virginia Jets fans, so I'll be doing that. Maybe I'll do something in the car. I don't know. Maybe do a halftime thing or something on the way back. We'll just kind of see how this all goes. And I think we'll have some video. So if the Jets score a touchdown, I will be the one leading the chant. So if I can get some video up on that, I'll do that. If we can get some good stuff. So, all right, everybody. Well, it's the beginning of a new era in Jets football. Indy wants my thoughts on Mozzie Smith. We did talk about him for a little bit, but I will say this: it's no risk move. It's a no risk throw in. Anything you get out of him is a bonus. I just hope he gets a fair opportunity to play and show what he could do. It was completely incompatible with him in Dallas, And now I want to see what he can do. Maybe a fresh start is what he needs. He was drafted in the first round for a reason. He has good metrics. He has good intangibles. I don't know exactly what went wrong in Dallas, but he was a healthy scratch for the Arizona game, and that tells you something. But hey, a new chance. It's a clean slate for him. I really hope he can take advantage of it. When you go to Charlotte, go to Dilworth's. It's our Jets bar. Yep. Indies, let me know about that. I know where Dilworth's is, and yep, I will definitely be going there. Yeah, it'll be my first time there, and I'm very excited. And even the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I'm going to be in Charlotte as well. I'll be there for Knicks Hornets. So I got 2 road trips heading to Charlotte in the next 3 weeks or so. All right. It looks like it's just Indy and Rusty left. So, boys, have a great night. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I will see you all right back here with more content from you all know where. The Wicker Chair. Good night, everybody.